Hello, everybody, and welcome back to League Zero Advanced Divisions for Season 5. We have Week 2, and we have Trolley Gang going up against Goats Only. I'm your play-by-play caster, Bob, and I'm here joined by Rocket.
Hello, how's it going?
Well, today we're looking at a pretty interesting match. We have, like I said earlier, Goats Only going against Trolley Gang. Obviously, people who have been watching the streams are familiar with Trolley Gang and the Week 1 match against Easy Clap, where they took an unfortunate loss 3-0. But Goats Only did also lose their first match, I believe, in a 3-2 fashion to,
Would have been Kingdom.
yeah, Kingdom Come. I'm sorry, just Kingdom, not Kingdom Come. The different
Wrong
thing.
season.
Our season, I'm a boomer. I'm old. Um, Either way, we have a good match. They in that match, I did have the honor of casting that, and I was able to cast that, and I saw that while it was a 3-0 loss, it was a lot closer than it really seemed. At least for when you see 3-0, you think it was a stomp. It wasn't close and all that. It was pretty close those last two maps. I think they just fell prey that Easy Clap was running this bashing comp that they really did not expect.
Yeah, definitely. Both of these teams have definitely started out their season a little bit on the wrong foot. Definitely not where you want to be heading into week
Now
two here.
align
Both
Yi Jiang
teams at 0 and
Yi
1. That
and
being said, one of
initiate
these
the
teams will be
match.
getting their first win tonight, and it looks like we are actually heading into the first map, which will be Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, I think the one thing I want to look at through the course of the series is how Goat's mental evolves. I mean, losing a 3-2 loss is devastating. I don't know exactly whether it was a reverse sweep or anything like that, but just losing in a 5-map series is always damaging to a player's mental.
Yeah,
And
it
that was
looks like
just a quick fake out real quick.
yeah, it looks like we had a little bit of a player issue. One of the players just wasn't in the lobby yet, so looks like we're going to be delaying map one for a second here. But coming into this match, are there any players that you're kind of expecting to really be any standout
Hmm.
on either team?
Well, I can't say I've had the pleasure of watching Goats Only yet, so I only have experience with Trolley Gang, but I will say Leafy, Deefy, Bubba, and Redix did put on some good performances in the last match. Obviously, with not much success, but they still had that performances, and I think if they really step up their game just a little bit, they can really take it.
Yeah, definitely. Red X especially, I think, is one of those key standout players that you're going to be looking for Trolley Gang. But on Goat's only side, obviously Aquamarine and Vraja, I think for me are the two players that I'm going to be looking out for the most. Aquamarine, obviously, very potent Junkrat player, so it's going to be very interesting to see if any of Goat's only's strats revolve around that hero.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta look at that. Just like in the Trolley Gang's last match against Easy Clap, where they had a Bastion one trick, now they're going against a Junkrat one trick. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't say one trick, but someone who primarily plays Junkrats, not and I think that is the main difference. Trolley made a lot of adaptations against Easy Clap against the Bastion comp, and some worked, but what I noticed a lot is they would make those adaptations, and then they would work, and then they'd make more adaptations, and it kind of counteracts, and it wouldn't. Like they'd coach themselves into a box where they're overthinking it. And I think if they just play their game and how they want to, they can definitely take this.
Yeah, for sure. The meta in the advanced division is definitely, I think, a lot more open. A lot of these players are very mechanically gifted, and they could really make anything work at the level that they are playing at. So it does look like we're still delaying map one a little bit, just waiting for I believe Gralu to get into lobby, and it
Yeah.
does look like he is here now. So map one should be underway pretty soon.
I will say my memory's a little shaky because it was a decent time ago, but I don't think this is the exact same roster that Trolley Gang fielded in the first match. So interesting to see the change up there. Like you were saying earlier, most of the players in Advanced Division have such high mechanical prowess that unless you're putting up a star level performance, I think it's really going to come
Now
down to
arriving
team
at Yi
synergy and
Jiang
how they will
Tower.
play together rather than
Initiate
how they
the
play alone.
match.
Yeah, for sure. And now, finally, we will be getting into map one. Lijiang Tower Control Center up
Oof.
first. So, do you think we're going to be seeing a little bit of the of your standard stuff? Obviously, I'm kind of expecting Goats only to really try and push the Junkrat here.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have you have probably one of the most gifted Junkrat players in League Zero. So,
Unarguably the best Junkrat point of any Overwatch map in history.
yeah,
So I
exactly.
think
So,
yeah, as they're definitely having the Junkrat, and I would bet money that they're not switching.
yeah, pretty standard comps coming up for both teams here. Granted, they don't change. So, obviously, you're going to be seeing a little bit of differences. 1-2 actually going to be starting out on the Doomfist, so going to be looking to go a little bit faster, get some of those insta-kills in the initial neutral in White Room. Meanwhile,
Yeah,
I think
it's
Goats
good
Only
call.
is looking for a bit more of that consistent damage coming from Aquamarine on the Junk.
Yeah, an insta-kill here from the Doom can just immediately win in the fight as Vedix already starts swinging both his weapon punch, exchanging someone's power. HVDQ already forced to use Vitality Field as Vedix falls, but it's traded out for potentially. But I would rather have that Sim, that Reinhardt than that Sim. But 1-2 goes a little bit too aggro trying to even it out, and now it's Trolly getting on the back foot as all the point pressures are in favor of Goats Only. While Renix does return to the fight, Matrix is being used to eat this fire stakes up. Trolly advances down one player each. The window already is sent out early. Joe also has his window up, but the uppercut from potentially knocks him out of the immortality field. The shadow goes wide. It doesn't really matter though, as Goats Only take the first fight in pretty dominant fashion.
Yeah, it was interesting to see potentially actually going over to the Doomfist after falling so early in the first fight. Actually goes over to the Doomfist, comes back in and actually catches Reefy Deefy as soon as they try and use their window. So a huge swap coming out so early, and Aquamarine with the tire. Ooh, need to be scouting that one out. Aquamarine ends up getting the 4K.
Yeah,
Big
and
plays
then
already.
Stagger on Darman. Yeah, what a tire. I mean, when you can hit Q and instantly win the fight, then that's how that is.
Yeah, 30% and counting up here for Goats Only, and still getting picks. 1-2 and Growler both down so early in this fight. They're not even really a fight, just trying to reset, taking too much damage in the poke as they were waiting for Darman to get back from the respawn from the late stagger. So Goats Only just capitalizing on a little bit of a sloppy reset there from Trolley Gang.
Yeah, they definitely take advantage of that spawn in the back, but these teams are looking ready to clash. We got windows, sorry, the wall come out, potentially getting a good pick with the shadow. Just landed the 2. Joe so low in the back of the field is able to land both Pop G's out of the fight. Wow, Row on the Symmetra gets knocked down, but it's always Goats always finding the kills. It's just the Diva and the Doomfist to the side of Trolley Gang at 70% already on the board, and it's looking dire.
Yeah, Aquamarine already up to another Riptire in this fight. Sebs as well with the self-destruct and no ultimates immediately online here for Trolley Gang. Bobafett does not have the beat online for this tire, so Aquamarine could be looking to find another 4K in this fight. The Immortality already forced out. Growler is going to have to be the hero there, taking out the tire early.
Yeah, Aquamarine not able to get another 4K with the tire, but it's still Ghost finding all the kills. It doesn't matter if that tire didn't get anything, as a Shadow not able to do very much, and it doesn't need to. But the kills are actually flipping on the other way, but they don't touch the point. Oh no, I've seen enough C9s today. I don't want to see more.
Yeah, Darman was so close to getting the point touch in that Baby Diva form. Unfortunately, Boba Fett caught in the sound barrier animation, couldn't get to point in time. And that's a credit to Goats Only, though. That is a very, very clean first point of Control Center. And so they'll go up 1-0 here on Lijiang. And now we're seeing a little bit of compositional changes for Goats Only. They're going to stray a little bit more towards the ball dive. You know, you have your Zen and your Brig going to be looking for a little bit more of that poke damage. Meanwhile, Trolley Gang looking like they're going a little bit of a different route, going for maybe some more almost comfort picks.
Trolley Gang is predicting them. This Roadhog is only to counter this ball comp, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Street Lord's gonna have to be very, very careful about this Roadhog hook. One hook can just burn that 600 HP health pool. And a big boop there from Boba Fett actually forces Street Lord to use some of these CDs. He gets hooked, but doesn't look like he'll be able to survive for now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just they're trying to set up a dive as potentially goes off the map. That was quite unfortunate. I watched it as they blinked off the map. It happens, no recall available. Street Lord getting hooked off the map. but he does have the grapple to get back on. It doesn't really matter though. There's so much sustain on the side of Trolly Gang. They can kind of just sit here and take whatever fight they want, but they go and TP straight into the enemy team. They don't have the sustain to deal with it. Aquamarine was able to find one, but Darman and Rex find two of their own. And that the pin onto potentially a very unfortunate game so far. Aquamarine doing their absolute best to even this out as much as they can, but it's still a solid Trolley fight win.
Yeah, and we kind of see the exact mirror of what Goats Only was doing to Trolley Gang on Control Center, kind of trying to punish these resets that are coming out in open space, and just being able to get these picks. The big TP there from 1-2, able to get to secure those picks.
Yeah, the tire coming up from Aquamarine is trying to get this out. And Metallic Field's still not used, and it does pick up Bubble Fat on the side. And a huge group off, getting two players, and this immediately winning the fight. It would take an absolute miracle, and that miracle will not come. Street Lord finding 3 in the fight so far. Doesn't really matter. They're trading out as much as they can, but it's going to be 67% on the board for the side of Trolley Gang.
Yeah, and a lot of ultimates online here for Trolly Gang to try and retake this. You're going to see 1-2 actually move over to the Tracer, but Growlu does have the Dragon Blade online. Darman, the whole hog, which could actually be quite big against this composition, getting Street Lord forced out. So just it's gonna in this fight though.
Sebs does find 2 early, and that's all they really needed. Goats only continuing their dominance on this point. As soon as they got it, they've been able to hold on to it. 1-2 does switch over to the Tracer off to Symmetra, but it doesn't look like it's going to do anything much. As Reddick switches off the Reinhardt onto the Diva. Very interesting comp we're seeing here from both teams.
Yeah, there's going to be no shielding, so Jorgen's going to be able to do a lot more poke, a lot more work on that Zenyatta. Redix is going to find a pick onto potentiality on the side near the Mega. But again,
late Mortality Field though. Ooh, Randy gets picked.
Yeah, that might be why you want that shield. Jorgen is able to take down Reefa DP, assumedly with the right click there. But the fight does seem it looks like it's trending a little bit more towards point here on the side of Street Lord. We've seen him get the boop once. Let's see if he can get it again.
Street Lord, who gets knocked off the map, is able to get back on with tech as the blade is used potentially, but the beat is countering and left all on their lonesome. Reefy DP finding that pick is big though, without the main tank on the side. Throw does somehow go off the map, but 1-2 evens it out with a pulse bomb, and that's all they needed. The Transcendence for Joe is able to keep the rest of the team alive with a hook and misses on Aquamarine on the side, and it's all brawl all the time. Joe falls down to the Diva for Redx, but they trade out the flexible point and Reefy DP with the bomb. It's such an even fight, but this tire from Aquamarine can be the difference maker. 1-2 able to kill Aquamarine while they're in the tire, but the tire evens it out onto Bubble Fat. The blade coming out from Grow isn't able to do very much as the mine kind of zones them off. They get booped off, low health, have to go for the Mega. 1-2 looking like the only touch, able to find Sebs out of the mech, and Grow even to get their Genshi's counterpart, both tanks finding their own picks, and in the clutch scenario, it is Trolley Gang that take it home.
Yeah, it was definitely looking scary for Trolley Gang for a second there. The tire from Aquamarine taking out your only consistent touch in Bubba Fat, but the blade from Growler able to stall enough for those respawns for Trolley Gang to come back in. And as you said, we are looking a little bit more at a ball mirror here. Squidward is in there trying to get some work done, but it's just space being gained here from
what a pulse bomb!
Oh, from Goats Only, but 1-2 with the pulse bomb.
Yeah, potentially evens it out as much as they can, but I say that it is 2-2, and it really comes down to this final fight, 99-99. If Goats is able to take it, they will take the map. Redix still Sebs out of the mech, and the Torbjorn from Aquamarine gets knocked off the map. Didn't even notice they switched to Torbjorn. Darman trains it with his life though, as the Coalescence comes out to keep them alive on the side of Trolley Gang. The deflect not able to get rid of that. The blade just gets immediately Ajax. There's only a little bit of touch left, and it's going to be going over to Trolley Gang as we go to the final map of Gardens.
Yeah, a 1-1 split here so far on Lijiang. And I think that was probably the point where you're going to see the widest variety in compositions. I think as we head over here to Gardens, you might see something that is maybe a little bit more standard. I don't know if any of these teams will try and move over towards the 6-man. It does look like Goats Only is veering in that direction. Trolley Gang Not yet. Looks like they might stick with what was working on Night Market.
Yeah, we do have a six-man coming out, like you said, from Goats Only, very similar to Goats, actually. And we're going to really see the difference. Are Trolley Gang able to sustain this rush down from the six-man?
Yeah, definitely. Reefy Deefy and Boba Fett are definitely going to have to
Oh,
be smart with their
Charmander
CDs.
attack.
Darman gets hacked and just immediately deleted. Boba Fett follows as well. It's a very, very good hack coming up from potentiality. That's a very, very difficult name to say, but
Yeah,
again, that's kind of
I've
how
been
the six-man, that's kind of how the six-man comp plays into the ball. You need to be playing fast. Don't let this ball set up on you. Try and set up their angles. So, very well played from Goats Only.
They did even now. They went for the spawn camp, try and build those ultimates as fast as possible. As we do have an approach, Diamond onto the target again, whiffs the hook. They not able to get much done. It goes to finally get the cap.
Yeah, it does look like Trolley Gang is trying to look for a little bit more of that sustain with the Roadhog, trying to do a little bit more damage to this Winston. It actually does look like it's gonna work. The instant burst is not there, and Joe Rogan and Potentiality do end up getting picked. So definitely an opportunity here for Trolley Gang to retake this point.
Yeah, now we do have retake from Trolley Gang. The Diva being the last wheel to catch, getting 27% on the board before anything really happens. The Genji from Growl is the one thing I'm really looking at. That was the big difference right there. As the Lucio kind of spawn camps Bubba, a very interesting play there, and they're not going to have, neither team's going to really have a Lucio in this first engage, well, but they are still out of back.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of ultimates coming online here for Goats Only. And the early swaps from Trolley Gang means they're not really going to have an opportunity to match
Oh, what
this.
an EMP! 5 people on the side of Trolley Gang EMP, but the one person not is the one who's on the kill. We have Aquamarine getting the Death Blossom evening out. Lucio for Genji. Trolley Gang down as much damage as possible. Sebs does find Bumble Time with a bomb, and then this fight is favoring Goats Only. They've invested 4 ults into this already, and it's just going to be a stagger out from Trolley Gang, and Goats Only caps, but they invested, like I said, 4 ultimates. There was a big investment on the side of Trolley Gang too.
Yeah, you do get the blade from Growlu out though, and the blade from Growlu doesn't find as much value as the ultimates from Go to Only, so it's more of an even trade, especially since these ults from the six-man comp can build so fast. So you still have the beat from Vraja and Street Lord's Primal Rage to try and stall us out and try and build up some more of those ults.
Big hook from Darman to get Raja, but it's just Freelord on the Winston that's able to even it out. That Primal Range finding so much value, 3 kills alone in that one fight, and now Goats Only continues to rack up the percentage, going up into the high 60s.
Yeah, Radix is going to get staggered here as well.
That was on the off ult fight. Now they have everything good.
Yeah, Vraja is able to keep the beat in that fight as well, which is huge. Potentiality does have another EMP, maybe to combo up with the Coalescence that Joe Rogan has just built. So this is definitely going to be a very difficult fight. Redix is going to have his work cut out from him, and there's the EMP.
The EMP comes through, but they did not catch the Lucio, so the Beat's able to nullify any advantage they had. They kind of retreat back to point, and kind of no harm, no foul. The boy does get hooked in, able to survive, but the Beat from Varja able to keep them all pushed up with Aquamarine, building up to that Death Blossom as fast as possible. 1-2 is the first one to follow. The Death Blossom comes in the backline and getting looped around. It does so much damage. No final kills for Aquamarine, but the damage was done. It's going to be Goats Only taking map 1 in a dominant fashion.
That was a extremely clutch beat at the end there from Vraja, being able to save your Moira and keep the sustain throughout the fight so that you can get those ultimates back online for Goats Only. That was an extremely clutch beat, and obviously Aquamarine's tire in the first round, setting the tone for this series as it moves 1-0 to not Trolley Gang, sorry, Goats Only.
Always check your corners, kids. Always check your corners. You'd never want to just let a Junkrat be there with tire. It's the age-old move. Varja's beat at the end was very clutch to let them just sustain and build up to that Reaper hole and do so much damage to the rest of their team.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely a little bit of, I think, compositional weirdness from Trolley Gang. Obviously, I could see maybe the argument for the swaps into the six-man on Gardens, maybe moving over to the Roadhog. But still, like once that six-man comp gets its ult cycle moving, it's very, very hard to break the hold that it has without ultimates of your own. And when you make swaps like that, it definitely hinders your ability to do so.
Yeah, I mean, the main issue, Trolley Gang in the match against Easy Clap were running very weird and wacky compositions, but it kind of made sense because the enemy team, Easy Clap, is also running weird and wacky compositions with the Bastion. Now they're going against Goats Only, who's running mostly very standard stuff, all just kind of with the Junkrat sometimes because of Aquamarine's skill. Red X, I believe so, played a lot of Roadhog in the Easy Clap series, and most of the time it did not come out very well. So Darman is now trying out that Roadhog.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. You could definitely see both of these teams are still doing a little bit of experimenting. It is only week 2, remember, so these teams
Yeah.
haven't had a ton of time to work out a lot of compositions or a lot of strats, maybe still trying to iron out some of the kinks in these compositions. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see as the series moves on, sorry, if the team's going to get a little bit more comfortable, find a composition they really like and run with it.
Yeah, well, we do have a Kings Row pick coming from Trolley Gang, so I think they're just going to want to take them back to that Brawl mirror, which is very interesting considering Goats won that Brawl mirror very dominantly. So they really believe in themselves here.
Yeah, a player that I think I want to highlight there for Goats Only, who, especially on that last map of Gardens, who was really sticking out to me was actually Street Lord. The 3K Primal in the fight where they kind of had to try and stall out and wait for those ultimates to come back online. And the Primal Rage getting the 2 boop kills and then a third on top of that was absolutely massive in allowing Goats Only to get their ult cycle back online, get the ult economy back in their favor. And then you just saw Aquamarine potentiality and Sebs kind of do the rest of the work in that last fight. Sebs had a huge self-destruct as well as Aquamarine. I believe it was Aquamarine with the Death Blossom, so...
Yeah, I mean, I will say Sebs have been consistently finding one, maybe two with the self-destruct, and with the skill and level of these players, that's all you can really ask for. I mean, if you go into maybe bronze, throw your self-destruct into the enemy team, probably 5 people are going to die to it. But these players know cover, they know how to dodge these bombs, and still consistently find one with the ultimate that's basically only used for remeching most of the time. It's very beneficial.
Yeah, for sure. As you mentioned before, we are going to be heading into King's Row. And do you think we're going to be seeing anything silly from either of these teams? Yeah, I
We'll just see. I
definitely...
could see an AC 130. No, oh, it does look like the attack could be a dive-based composition, but we do have a pretty predictable brawl with Junkrat coming out from Goats Only on the defense.
Yeah, a bit more of a poke brawl style from Goats Only. Obviously, you have Aquamarine on that Junkrat, so might as well try and take advantage of that while you can. So that brawl comp is going to be looking to play a little bit slower, but looking at Trolley Gang, they're going to be looking to set up a lot more of those poke angles. So it's going to be kind of a poke battle, I think, for especially this first point cap. Who can set up the positioning first? Who can start putting in meaningful damage? And then it's just up to Darman, Gralu, and 1-2 to get that dive in onto Joe Rogan and Vraja to try and get some of those kills moving in their favor.
We do have a Junkrat trap at the start. Gets Aquamarine a quick and easy 25% though.
Yeah, obviously you need to be looking out there for the door, making sure you don't get caught in that trap, but nothing's going to come of it for now.
Yeah, for now it's just kind of a poke battle. They're trying to go into them on this brawl defense, but they can't go too aggro. They'll just kind of get poked out by this brawl, but Grau on that Genji not able to find the value that they did in the past. Shooter just kind of swinging through, getting a bunch of ult charge and damage through on the side of Goats Only as they take the first fight and are building up to a lot of key things.
Yeah, Joe Rogan and Vraja did take a lot of early poke in that fight, and perhaps that was the go button for Trolley Gang to try and get something done. You saw Darman and Red X try and go in on the dive, but Growler gets caught out a little bit late, so it's going to be a lost first fight here for Trolley Gang, and a few swaps coming in. Red X is going to go over to the Sigma and Growler onto the Hanzo, so a little bit stronger poke here. Less of that dive style that we were seeing earlier.
Yeah, but the only bad side is on the attack, this defensive rush can kind of just rush them down and do whatever they want. Despite from Aquamarine managed to actually get Red X despite everyone being able to see it. But Streetler does charge into the spawn. Giga Chat touch spawn challenge indeed.
Yeah, Streetlord is going to be able to get out with his life as well. Has that shatter online in this fight. Steps as well, going to have that gravitic flux along with a blizzard and an amplification matrix. heading only really into Mines and Transcendence, so definitely an ult advantage here for Goats Only.
Yeah, the solo Shadow and solo Blizzard, Darman alone, that ball is gone.
Yeah, it's the rough life of a main tank player in Overwatch 1, getting CC'd incredibly hard there by the ultimates of Goats Only. So it's definitely looking rough, and still, you don't have a ton of ultimates online here for a Trolly Gang. You really still only have that Transcendence. You have a Rally now, and you are going to have a Duplicate, but you're still going to be going into the support ult of Goats Only.
Yeah, very interesting thing to go into this rally and this duplicate. They're able to get a lot of value out of this and kind of even brawl out. The Transcendence able to keep them alive through the Flux 3 Ward, not able to get anything with the charge with the beat from Roger, was able to keep them alive. But they didn't save it for the Flux, so Redix was able to find a big Flux, get all the members, the Ghost members only, the duplicate Flux able to find huge value with the Dragon straight through the Blizzard, and all members of Ghost only are just crumbling. It's a 2v1 a point. This potentially May is the only one left standing as Redix and 1-2. The two remaining bastions of Trolly Gang are able to cap the point, and we're gonna have full Goats Only respawns.
Yeah, that was a 5 ultimate fight there from Trolly Gang in order to get that point. I know it looks like they are gonna go for the recontest here. That is huge. Aquamarine is gonna have the tire as well.
Aquamarine's tire needs to find something if they want a successful recontest, and it does. Aquamarine able to find 2 kills. I can't believe it. They didn't cap point in time. They killed him so quickly and didn't get point fast enough. And we do have to see a brawl switch over from Trolly Gang. Very frustrated though from not capping A.
Yeah, and they're gonna try and abuse the lack of Acacity on the side of Ghost Only. Gonna move over to the Pharmacy, try and get a little bit more of that poke. And I think this is a perfect counter to what Goats Only is running. They want to play slow, but you want to know what plays even slower? Pharmacy. So
yeah, it's unfortunate Blizzard that keeps Redix kind of frozen up. The Immortality now able to keep it alive 5 seconds left on the board, and there's going to need to be a touch from one of the players of Trolly Gang. Diva is able to get the touch. Blue Hotel stay on point as much as they can. The window comes out. The Leafy Team 1-2 finds Joe on the side. That's a big pick. That main healer down, but the kills are coming in for Goats Only. 1-2 tries to even it out as best as he can, but the with them mostly dead. They're so susceptible. Redix finding Street will grow. Getting sad. It just trades back and left. And Raja Ajax the beat. As, Trolly Gang able to cap A in a very messy fight, one after another.
Yeah, days since last Ajax. So reset the counter, ladies and gentlemen. Raja's at 0. So a bit of a rough beat there at the end from Raja. And now ult economy is almost completely reset here. Neither team has any ultimates to work with, and Potentiality is going to move over to the Cassidy's to try and pick this Pharmacy out of the sky. So, but it's going to be hard, especially since that's your only real source of damage going towards that Pharmacy.
Yeah, in a duo-die scenario, if you have Q, you hit Q. Aquamarine with another tire though needs to find this big one. And it's 1-2 going to have this barrage very quickly. It's kind of just the poke roll coming out, but poke definitely favors the attacking side Trolly Gang. With the Street World left in the minefield, Aquamarine with the tire able to get up and cancel the barrage. What a huge tire to go on top of the roof and find that pick. Aquamarine able to continue that strength on Junkrat even against the Pharmacy. And it's going to be Trolly Gang backing up. Goats Only is taking control with only a minute left on the clock.
Yeah, and a lot of ultimates now to work with for Goats Only, both tank ult and an amplification matrix moving up towards the Deadeye. So a very, very distinct ultimate advantage for Goats Only really looking at the self-destruct and the Transcendence. And Aquamarine's trap actually finds Growlu up on the high ground. So this fight is going to be even more staggered. You're going to see that self-destruct come out, but it's only going to find the Immortality field.
Potentially does get picked up big, but this shadow is big enough. Darman going to get taken out of the mecha as the beat just really used to layer it on. Transcendence is not really needed. Cart is getting moved just slightly by Redix, but it's still Trolly Gang just out of this fight. And the ultimate advantage still is in Goats Only favor as Darman goes back over to the hog. What I can only assume is extreme desperation. Redix gets picked late.
Yeah, this has been a very, very solid defense on the second point from Goats Only, and the ult economy is still in their favor. Growlu is going to have the Dragon Blade, but you do have the Deadeye from Potentiality to try and nullify the effect of it.
Oh, and he finds 1-2.
Oh.
Aquamarine. And the
Oh
tire!
my.
Just styling out. Nobody can stop them on this Junkrat, finding 4 in the final fight. And Goats Only are going to hold something that, honestly, they could have held that.
Yeah, definitely. It's still a very, very solid defense there from Goats Only. Didn't even need the Deadeye at the end to counter the blade. Aquamarine, really kind of the hero in that last fight, getting the flank off. And it just kills 3 for free. They simply carry the Junkrat.
It is all about that flank at the end. Now, with the dominance Goats Only has shown throughout the series, I think it's all on Trolley Gang here. Just like in the Easy Clap series, this is the do or die moment. If they go down 0-2 in such dominant fashion here, then the mental barrier to get over this last hurdle and trying to reverse sweep against 2-0 after you got rolled in the first 2, it's very, very hard. And I'm not sure if these teams have what it takes to do that. So this is do or die. Trolley Gang need a huge hold here to come back in this series.
Yeah, we've definitely seen Stranger Things before. And now we're going to be looking at a little bit more of a traditional hold here from Trolley Gang. It's the classic Ryan Diva, Maycast, Bap Lucio that we've seen for the last couple of years kind of be the staple on this map really ever since the roll lock. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see if maybe moving towards something a little bit more traditional allows Trolley Gang to get back into the series.
Yeah, that's one thing that they need. Just a big fight here, potentially on that Widowmaker. Sounds interesting on the Neverland.
Defend objective A.
Yeah, potentiality is just going to look for that Widow pick and right back onto the Mei. So again, it's going to be this kind of poke brawl style from Goats Only that allowed them to have so much success on their attack. But Gralu gonna find Aquamarine
Good first
early.
pick as the walls do come out. Shooter just trying to swing and get as much ult charge as possible. He's frozen up. Not really able to do much. The immortality does fall, and so do they. Shooting Lord falls early, and the Prodigal Sun returns to spawn as Aquamarine able to find an exit kill on Leafy though. That's huge for the next fight.
Yeah, that is actually probably the best pick that you could have found it in that fight as Rufy Deefy goes down. So Trolley Gang has to give up the space. You need to wait for your Baptiste to come back. So this is going to give Goats Only so much free space to work with in this fight. And Joe Rogan is going to get up to that amplification matrix so much faster than Rufy is.
Yeah,
oh, now I say that, he does get it first.
The back does return to the fight. Joe and Leaky both using the windows. It's going to be on this first kick. Streetload does fall down to the ground and gets picked off, but Grau is traded out. And the flank from Redx able to find a huge charge in the back, and it's just even 1-1, but 1-2 is the one that makes the back trade. It potentially invests the Blizzard onto it. But wait, is anyone going to be able to touch? Bubba does step on the point, but he falls, and it's a 3v1, potentially very similar to their defense. Aquamarine on uses the tire from very far away, but if it's able to protect, touch, what?
Oh,
no way, no way! The precipice of the C9, they can't do anything about it. Touch point challenge.
potentiality reminding Trolley Gang that the point is indeed something that they need to touch in this game. So
that's the second time in the series.
yeah, it's definitely a little bit unfortunate for Trolley Gang. It doesn't look like they're going to try and hold close here, but against the ultimates of Trolley Gang, it might be difficult. That being said, they're going to invest ults of their own.
Yeah, I mean, very good Blizzard. They're not able to find anything because of Rogers beat. Reflexing counter by the beat again. The shadow gets blocked from Streetload. Very excellent positioning there. The window from Leafy just able to shoot through. Grau does get a headshot and potentially one-shots them. Raja able to find Darman and the Baby Diva, but outside of that, it's all Trolley Gang. They're trying to hold this because this is really what they need to hold, so they have 2 fights on the board.
Yeah, this close hold is definitely necessary, seeing how close card is. But
That's bad,
a little
though.
bit of a Baptiste difference there. Up at the top right of your screens is Joe Rogan is going to take down Reefy Deefy, so that definitely gives Goats Only a little bit of the space they need to try and break this choke. And it does look like they are going to get past, all the way past Arches. And with Aquamarine building towards the tire, this is very, very scary for Trolley Gang.
Yeah, I mean, they know because if you remember, now that they've capped A, they spawn all the way back at the end of C. So any pick that they get here is never a trade. If Goats Only just trades this out, they will win this map very easily. and the fight goes. Street Lord gets walled off, and Leafy Deefy falls once
Leafy's
again.
dead again.
I think that's just it. That's all they needed. No heal. A very little healing on the board potentially goes crazy. There's nothing Trolley Gang can really do, and it's all easy. Street Lord with the celebratory shatter onto a baby diva. Aquamarine coming with the tie up and spawn. It doesn't matter. Nobody's gonna touch. It's going to be goats only taking map 2 in even more dominant fashion.
Yeah, I think we're really seeing throughout the series that goats only, they know what they want to play. They want to put Aquamarine on that Junkrat, and they want to play a little bit of this slower, we're going to burn you down slowly style. With this Junkrat and the Sigma, we're going to build our ults faster, and we're just going to beat you. And that's definitely what they were looking for.
Yeah, this flank from Aquamarine basically able to win this fight for them on the spot. And I think we just got to point out they were holding A pretty well, and then they just didn't touch. I mean, I had that is the 5th C9 I have witnessed today.
Yeah, it's definitely been a bit of a day of C9s, hasn't it? But
it really has been. But we will. Goats only coming up 2-0 in the first half of this series. Trolly Gang looking to make a comeback. They need a reverse sweep in order to not go 0-2 in the first 2 weeks. We're going to be taking a quick break in a few minutes just to let us rest and let these teams formulate their plans for the third map. And we're going to see you guys on the other half of this break. back everyone to League Zero Advanced Division. We have Goats Only against Trolley Gang. Goats Only taking the first two maps in very dominant fashion. Once again, I'm Mob, joined by my casting partner, Rocket.
Yeah, as you said, definitely quite a dominant showing from Goats Only so far. But I think a lot of that is coming down to Goats Only, like we said before the break, kind of sticking towards that style that they know that they want to play. They want to be playing a little bit more of that poke style, that poke brawl, and it's really been getting them quite far in this series so far. But it does look like we are going to be seeing some changes in the
Yeah.
lineup as Aquamarine is out.
Yeah, not just Aquaman, but Potentiality is also a Coconut Call and Chungus coming in for replacements. And this is one of two things, whether either they're specialists and are good at certain heroes, or they just kind of wanted to give them some map time. But I like
Yeah.
to assume the former rather than the latter.
Yeah, if you're up 2-0, you can definitely look to give some of your players that haven't been able to play a lot at least a little bit of play time. That being said, the season isn't that long, so this could come back
Every
to
map
bite them.
matters.
But yep, exactly. Every map does indeed matter. So
But we will see what they end up going on. I can tell you one thing, they're not going to be playing Junkrat.
well, I would not. I wouldn't say that just yet, but the
That would be
Junkrat
funny.
specialist might be out, so you might be right about that.
Well, either way, I think this is going to be Charlie Gang really needs to step it up in this series. We have Goats only defending first, and if they get a good hold here, this should basically just end the series right now.
Yeah, definitely, but I don't think it is lost quite yet for Trolley Gang. We've seen a little bit of that mechanical skill come out from that team. Growlu especially has been, I feel, trying his best to get something done. But that being said, you're going to need a full team effort to take down Goats Only and try and cut this deficit in half. And you're going to have to start on Route 66, our next map.
Yeah, Trolley Gang gonna need to take a straight three map win streak if they want to come back and reverse sweep this. Very hard for team to do, especially when they've been really beaten down as much as they have been by Goats Only.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is probably where you're going to see the biggest change in compositions.
Double shield.
Yeah, Goats Only are starting to double shield here with a Bap Zen backline. A lot of poke, a lot of damage there. Perhaps expecting Trolley Gang to go double shield comp of their own and try and win that shield poke war. But they're not going to oblige. Rex is already hovering the Roadhog. Growlu is on the Genji, so very weird composition. I'm going to be interested to see if they do stay on this.
It really seems like throughout the series, Trolley Gang has just tried to simply outskill Goats Only by running high skill characters, Roadhog, Genji, that kind of thing, while Goats Only has been running more of a team-oriented setup. And of course, they had that individual skill to match, but they've been playing more as a team.
Yeah, definitely. And it looks like they are going to roll out on what they showed in Spawn. Darman is going to be on the ball. And that's what you need if you're going to be playing the composition that Trolley Gang is playing. You're going to be needing your Roadhog to be consistently hitting hooks. He'll get another one. That's both DPS for Goats Only just down out of the fight just like that.
Yeah, the Roadhog is definitely getting some food for value. If another hook comes in, actually, Darman interrupts that hook. Kind of some team BM there. Either way, they do take this fight pretty handily. As the Redix Roadhog is proving very beautiful.
Yeah, it's really just up to Growlu to clean up some of the damage that Redix is doing, but that was, what, 4 or 5 picks in that fight for the Roadhog, so Nova is actually going to be looking to get a little bit of that counter in, going over to a Roadhog of his own. But you can't stop the power of Redix in the backline.
Yeah, not even the backline. They're at their spawn. Joe does find 2 on the Zenyatta in their own spawn, but it doesn't really matter. The Straight Lord is the only person left on the cart, and they're going to be getting it through and capping it.
Yeah, already a much better start to this map than King's Row for Trolley Gang. A lot of that on the back of Redix, but Joe Rogan is actually going to pick off Growlu extremely early in this fight, so you're going to be down 1. It doesn't matter, as the card is still just moving forward passively anyways. So Gralu is actually going to be having this blade online, so you can afford to stall this out just a little bit to get that ultimate online.
Yeah, Nano Blade going to be very big, especially since Joe has not built up the Transcendence and are dead. And so the Nano Blade just so free, and easiest 4K Growl's life.
Yeah, definitely, definitely Gralu getting his work cut out for him a little bit easier this time than, say, if Joe Rogan was alive and with the Transcendence, so... a very clean blade, nonetheless. He ends up getting the 4K in that fight, and Charlie Gang still has ultimates to work with in this fight. You have the whole Hog Mines and a Bob, so they could look to just keep steamrolling this.
This is definitely what Trolly Gang wanted, a very dominant attack. 4 minutes on the clock, and they're looking to just cat B right here, right now. As the whole hog does get cancelled by Roger, that's a very good play. As Redix can kind of push it out, but the mines from Darman is able to kill Chungus. Like Trolly Gang are still just getting all of the kills that they need in here in this fight. But
Yeah, Coconut Carl. He finds 3.
They have to touch cart. Raja, the last person standing, it was very strong. I wouldn't call that a C9, they were all dead. But either way, it was a good attempt from Coconut Call on the Ash.
Yeah, really trying to step up here for Goats only when they've kind of been getting rolled so far by Charlie Gang's attack. That being said, Darman going down is definitely going to be helpful for them. And Joe Rogan's going to take down Gralu again, so maybe a little bit of stabilization coming through here for Goats only. They could try and get this defense set up a little bit better than they had it before.
Yeah, Goats only has to defend for 4.5 minutes on C alone. Very large task ahead of them, but if there's anyone can do it, it's them in this series.
Yeah, and Darman is actually going to go down early in this fight again, but you need to care Redx on the high ground. We'll take down Coconut Carl, and there's the beat from Bubba Fett to be matched by the Transcendence. So
it feels like Redx has been able to just walk into the team's backline every single time without getting contested by this comp. And that's what they really need to stop doing. Roger with the rally able to keep the team up for the most part. Nano getting thrown onto Growl, has the blade ready to pull it through, but decides they don't really need it. As the Zarya switch from Dogman is coming over.
yeah, I think that's probably a pretty smart play from Gralu to hold the blade. And, you know, it's not super necessary. And Joe Rogan did use the Transcendence early in the last fight, so you will have it. Pretty much a free blade coming into this fight here.
Yeah, and the Coconut did get picked really quick. The blade comes out. Not able, that bubble means there's not much they can really do. The stun comes out and they do kill Growl, but it's already been traded out twofold. 4v5 on the point, and the damage coming out for these two offenses is just so high. I don't know what they can really do about it. It's all in Joe in Coconut here. They need to find picks for the hook comes through. Coconut does kill Redx. The hook traded to a life. And if they just keep falling out, they have such high spawners advantage. And it really looks like it's turning the other way. Goats only somehow managing to hold their own in this fight. Just that respawn advantage being so powerful. It's not over yet though. Grell is able to trade the life with Chungus's. And either way, it looks like the stabilization coming out from Goats only with 5 players left alive and Dogman losing all charge.
Yeah, Diamond losing his charge, but we'll have the grab online for this next fight, so it's still a lot of ultimates to be used here for Trolly Gang to kind of finish this round out, especially since Coconut Carl gets the 2-tap there from 1-2. Very fitting, but the Nano Boost is going to come out to be answered here by the Transcendence, and Trolly Gang, they kind of want to end this right here, right now.
Transcendence going to use now. This Dogman has a pretty grab. They shoot it and it hits nobody, but I don't think it really matters. Coconut Carl's Bob is doing a lot of work in the back, but not enough to get it really done. The beat comes out as just a celebratory aspect of this with 2:16 on the clock for Trolly Gang's cap.
Score.
Yeah, that was definitely a lot better. That was definitely the best we've seen Trolly Gang look in this series so far. Redx especially on the flank Roadhog, getting a lot of that work done, so very, very good step up there from your main tank player. Try and get you some momentum coming back into the series. And now, this 2-minute 16 time bank here on Route 66. Definitely very well done there from Charlie Gang, getting a little bit of that momentum back in their favor.
Yeah, I think that's definitely it. That momentum very switching with a very dominant attack. I saw this in the series yesterday
that I was casting for intermediate, where one team was losing pretty bad and they set an amazing attack, but it actually just got followed up with an even better attack from the winning team. So it's on goats only here. They need to set an equal or better time bank to really switch this momentum back in their favor.
Yeah, for sure. Doesn't look like there's going to be too much change in composition. So you're going to be seeing Charlie Gang on the exact same composition. A couple changes for, or actually just one change for Goats only. You're going to see Chungus move over to the Echo. So maybe a little bit more of that poke damage, that vertical poke damage coming through. So it'll be interesting to see.
Them shut down Red X, not let him get on these 3 flanks every single fight.
Yeah, the scouting will definitely be important there.
Moving forward, though, Red X does take the little backseat, looking for the hook on this high ground, the ball slam, and he gets the Echo on top. Nice hook there, and just that instant pick is all they really need to win this fight by handily. That Echo damage is so important in his team's poke composition.
Yeah, they are going to walk up, the backline is going to walk up a little bit, and will actually take down Growlu. I feel like Joe Rogan has kind of had Growlu's number so far this map. I think this is the 4th or 5th time Growlu's been picked off by Joe Rogan, but regardless, it does look like Goats Only is going to be able to follow up on it. Coconut Carl will take down 1-2, and this fight is looking really good for Goats Only all of a sudden.
Yeah, Goats Only just managing to turn it, not giving up on the fight despite getting picked. Some teams would just completely back out there and have no chance of winning, but they had the determination and grit to stay in it, and we do have a kind of a ball 1v1 going on to the point. But moving forward, the hook comes out onto Diva Nova getting knocked in the back, but trading the life with Darman. We're going to call finds both had the Nano coming out to Radix to a singular carry, able to do as much as possible. Bob not able to do much. Chungus in 1-2 trading exact for exact. The anti-nade kills Coconut before the Transcendence is able to get the Radix, the last remaining Bastion for Trolly Gang, not able to hold out. Darman comes back in the ball, but to little to no avail. It's Raja just finding all the picks on the Vegeta. That's all they need to do. Bubble Pad does kill Joe Rogan in the back. A little bit too many testosterone supplements for them to handle. As it's just the ball and the Lucio doing as much as they can, but they're kind of stalling for time though. Ash comes back 1-2 and getting immediately killed. Bubble Pad with that healing or not able to stay alive. Radix switching over to Diva to get back quickly though. But I feel like that arc was the really main advantage, that ace card.
Yeah, definitely. And the Transcendence there from Jorgen to sustain was definitely helpful. And you're going to see the ult cycle here from Goats Only kind of continue here. As Chungus actually wins the 1v1 against Growlu there as his fight starts and actually gets the D-Mac, sorry, onto Red X. So it looks like this kind of roll is going to continue here. The stickies come out. Not going to find too much, but still, a lot of ultimates on line here for Goats Only.
Yeah, they find all they needed. Those 2 picks basically solidify that fight is won for Goats Only, and now they're able to continue going. And this is really going to come down to the final fight and be if they're able to win this fight here, then it's going to be very big. The bot coming out, but Coconut Call already killing 1-2. Echo and again has to force the duplicate. The only thing to do is a beat comes out from Bubble Cat to keep them alive, and the picks are coming out. For Trolly Gang, the rally gets killed quick. Coconut Call kills Growl with the kickback is not enough, as the reback kills Darman and the bomb kills Bubble Fat. It's entirely winnable for Goats Only, but they only have 2 players left alive. They want these respawns to come quick. It's the Honor from Weekly DT and Red X in the backline trying to kill this Honor, and they get it done. The Nano comes through, able to just keep them going as the rest of Trolly Gang comes forward. Joe Rogan kills Weekly DT, check them for a seed of Metapine. I swear, Red X able to kill Roger, another pick from that Diva. We were talking about how I like the Roadhog switch more, but they've been popping off on this Diva.
Yeah, definitely. Raja was on the Lucio for a second, goes back over to the Brigida, but still, you don't force out a ton of ultimates if you're Trolly Gang. You still have a Transcendence, a Bob, and a Self-Destruct to deal with, and even though you didn't move the card a whole ton, that's going to be a very, very early bomb forced out from Red X. So very, very good opportunity for Goats Only to get back in this fight.
Good sleep from Leafy Deefy to protect the Baby Diva Red X while 1-2 finds Chungus on that pick. The Bob getting sent out though for Bob immediately gets slept though. not much to do there as the cart just continues to get pushed. Oh, the trace up top. Coconut so blind to get killed by the slam. The Trixandus is just too late to be kept alive. And now it's just an all-out brawl. The Slam's coming through, trying to kill this active high guard. Not able to get anything to do. Joe falling extremely low to disgrace it to the side and ends up falling. It's just the Brigida on her own, on her run. So Tank Peel is there, but it's too little too late. The pulse bomb comes out, goes wide and pays with their life. It goes only can actually, they are actually turning this ball. A kill on Chinova definitely flips the other direction as it's a 4v3. 1-2, holding it down on the card, killing Coconut Call, just clutching up in their own way, this honor on high guard, just pumping out so much healing, it doesn't even matter.
I find I find that 1-2 getting the 2 taps on the Ashe is quite fitting considering their name. But again, like we're seeing these fights from Goats only where they have distinct ultimate advantages, and it's just going to waste because 1-2 and Dharma and Growler are just finding so many of these early picks.
I do want to point out that Joe Rogan has, remember, they were on Zenyatta, so my point is ill and void. The bomb comes out from 1-2 onto the cart, putting so much damage and not letting that move an inch. Coconut Call falls once again. They fall so early in these fights. Darman gets unslapped. Chungus goes off the map. I assume it was the last resort. And maybe just a quick reset there as they are losing this fight pretty handily. Raja does get the poof off onto Darman as Redix is falling kind of low to this Brigida and on a combo. As Ghosts only do have them trapped in, the bomb getting forced to be used, they can just go inside and hide. And the reback does kill Joe Rogan. And how did they let that through? Coconut Call back on the trace who kills Growl as all the kills are going in favor of Ghosts only in the last second. 37 seconds on the clock and they're able to push it to win a fight on B finally.
Yeah, they do finally decide that trying to kill Darman and Growler wasn't worth it, and that killing Reefy and Bubba would be a little bit more fruitful in attaining her pulse. Nova is actually going to find the pulse bomb meet onto Growler as the recontest comes in from Trolly Gang.
That's a big E, and the duplicate comes out with a nano onto the beginner just to keep them alive. So much healing and so much damage. The bomb gets sent out as it doesn't do anything for them. And now it's just kind of a free cap. It's just all Goats only all day.
Yeah, a few ultimates being committed into that fight that were perhaps unnecessary, but regardless, now you have a minute and 30 to try and full cap Route 66, which is... Yeah, it's definitely going to be a tall task. Route 66 is third point. It can be difficult to cap, especially with the respawn advantage that the defenders have.
Yeah, but with the time bank that the Trolly Gang have, and even regardless of the time bank, they need to full cap this if they want to keep the lead in the series and keep this 2-0 and end the series right here. Don't let them come back. Dogman getting slapped in the back, not getting taken down though as the minefield comes out from the street wood in the front line. So much damage coming through, but not able to find any picks. Stick just barely whiffs as Coconut barely able to get out and Tracer. Tanks for Trolly getting so low, but Coconut gets picked off before they can get heals with the Tracer is even now. The spawn advantage favoring Trolly getting on that defense. Nova has to take cover solo, but the rally is able to keep the entire roster of Goats only up as it's just all the kills. And this fight lasted so while this fight was going on, they were pushing the cart the whole time. So now it's basically final fight scenario. The Nano is still online with Joe Rogan and the stick, but the stick from Growl, it could be a map winning stick here as the full respawns from Trolly Gang come out. Bob getting sent out on the card. Russia not able to sustain the attack from Bob, and it's just 7 seconds left on the board, and they're falling like flies. Trolly Gang finding all the kills that they need.
Yeah, it's definitely looking dire here for Goats Only, and they're not even going to get the touch. Trolly Gang is going to cut Goats Only's lead in half. It's going to be a 2-1 series here as we move into 2CP.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. I think gotta shout out that Growl found the map winning stick onto Joe Rogan. I mean, they had the nano, they were ready to go through, play aggressive and get those kills, but that stick just immediately shutting down all the momentum and not even getting to use that ultimate before the round ended.
Yeah, for sure. 1-2 as well, really stepping up during that game, getting some beautiful picks onto the Ashe, and now I don't. I'm pretty sure Soup cannot see the lobby, but Aquamarine is back in. So anyone cheering for Goats Only will likely breathe a sigh of relief as arguably the reason that you had such a dominant first half to the series is back in the lineup.
Yeah, it seems like they were running a separate roster there with a few swaps. And now that they're coming back in, especially on a map like Temple Anubis, I think this Junkrat can be very dangerous.
Yeah, it definitely seems like Temple of Anubis will be the next map choice. So, obviously having Aquamarine in for this map, it makes a little quite a bit of sense. A lot of these tight chokes can be controlled very, very well by a Junkrat. It's gonna be interesting to see what the rest of Goats Only decides to play around Aquamarine's Junkrat. Do you go something like a double shield? Do you go something maybe a little bit divier with a Winston? We've seen the fabled Junkie Monkey comp can be very potent here, so it'll be interesting to see what approach Goats Only takes on this map.
Yeah, I think that's really going to be a difference. Goats only, the momentum has definitely swung in favor of Trolley Gang, and if they want to come back, they need a dominant attack here.
Yeah, definitely. And I think for Trolley Gang as well, you've kind of been banking on some of these a little bit more untraditional comps being I guess more or less like unexpected by the other team and trying to out mechanics Goats Only. And that really only started working on Route 66 when presumably Goats Only wasn't running their strongest lineup. So I think there is definitely still a bit of concern for Charlie Gang heading into Temple of Anubis. But that being said, if Red X plays the way he did on Route 66, it might not be as much of a concern.
Yeah, I think they really have to keep that performance up. They don't want to take their foot off the gas at any point. They need to continue to push them and continue to really dominate, especially Redx on that tank. They need to continue to dominate if they want to bring this to a map 5.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the other players that was really stepping up last map for Goats Only was Joe Rogan on that Zenyatta, getting a lot of value building up that Transcendence quickly. And while it didn't bear any fruit in that last map, it's definitely a player to look out for as we are heading into Temple of Anubis now.
Yeah, Temple and Nimbus, I really expect to see an Aquamarine Junkrat here, at least on the defense. And it really comes down to this in its entirety that this attack is going to set the pace for the rest of the match. If this is a dominant attack, then they probably will win the series in all honesty. But if they're not even able to cap, then all the momentum is in favor of Trolley Gang going into map 5.
Yeah, and as for swaps, we are going to see Sebs and Potentiality back in for Goats Only as well. Now the red team on the right side of your screen. So Sebs hovering the Roadhog. I'm not sure with how Goats Only's comps have been if they're going to stick to that. Yeah, we see the swap over to the Diva. So honestly, like a pretty traditional comp here for Temple of Anubis. A little strange seeing the Junkrat, but it's Aquamarine. It'll be
Yeah. If anyone can make it work, they definitely can.
yeah, for sure.
Looking forward, though, it's going to be this Red X Hog once again. This was really the thing that let the attack be so dominant as they find the immediate hook and kill onto Potentiality. Sebs had the defense magic there, but it was about half a meter too short. The res does come through, not interrupted by anyone. 1-2 still alive on top, and these are kind of the rosters that we saw in the first 2 rounds as well. First match, excuse me.
Yeah, very solid defense, just holding this high ground. But that is a huge boot from Street Lord, and that's going to be the go here from Goats Only to try and get something done. Potentiality anti falls so low, but it's not going to matter as Aquamarine's going to find Growler, and that's 2 picks down. Aquamarine gets traded and carry the Torb turret on the high ground.
Red X does get nanoed in whole hogs, but with Leafy Deefy falling, that's so much heals down for the side. That's actually all heals down for the side of Trolley Gang, and it's just kind of a slow burnout here as it's just Goats Only taking it, but in a slow roll. They just need to move over the point. Valkyrie did get pop Growl, looking for a pick onto Joe in the backline. Nano is on the table as their dive coming through. The most pocket not able to keep them alive, as this can actually be turnable. The minefield coming through to cut off the Brigitte from getting into the fight, as Aquamarine uses the tire to try and even this out in any way they can, getting Redx's mech immediately down, and it's just going to be all the picks on the side of Goats only in a decently fast fashion.
Yeah, you're gonna have about 2 minutes left on your time back by the time you cap. And if you look at the top right of your screen, you're actually going to be seeing the Nano Blade coming online. Really, the only things that were used in that fight to cap point A were Street Lord's Mines and Aquamarine's Tire. And as you can see, the ult economy for Trolley Gang is completely in the mud. All you have is maybe a rally if Bubba Fett can build it up fast enough.
I mean, this Nano Blade needs to be huge, and it finds Bubba, it finds the Torbjorn, and it just keeps going forward. Growl does even that onto the Mercy, but not as even as they wanted to be. 4 members throw a Trolley Gang down. It's just the tanks left, and they need to stay alive as long as they can to buy as much time. And Darman does find Streetlers somehow in a 4v6. I mean, a 4v2. Now all of the DPS and supports are coming back to the side of the Trolley Gang. The bomb getting sent in, and the trades getting actually traded out. Potentiality not able, barely able to stay alive. Not anymore. Sebs evens it out, but it's just kind of a long bleeding out fight for Goats only, and they're not gonna win it.
Growlu finding the pick onto Raja before the Nanoblade came out was very large. You lose so much of your sustained potential, which is so important on the assault game mode. So yeah, all you really need is a little bit of that spawn advantage and a little bit of focus fire to get that fight back into your favor.
And now they're looking at some pretty strong ultimates for Trolley Gang. Definitely a winnable fight for Goats only though.
Yeah, a lot of ultimates online in here for both teams. Street Lord is going to bring the mines into the backline, trying to open up the point a little bit. And the Valkyrie is going to come up from Raja. Aquamarine coming also so close to the tire. So the ultimate usage in this fight is going to be very important.
Yeah, Growl does dupe the Ana in the dive to try and take them out. Not able to get much done with it though, as the Ana duplicate does fade. No picks in this current fight. Aquamarine has a tire. We've seen what they've been able to do with it so far, and with no immortality on the board, I would be scared. The Nano onto the Echo getting sent through. The tire not able to kill Growl. Growl so low in the air, going for the Mega on the backside of point, but they're going to be out of this fight for a while as the Blade already comes through, built another one, as they're just looking through. The Nano Blade coming through. The Torbjorn also not able to get too much value as the Nano Blade finds 1-2. That's all they really needed. Redx stalling out for as long as they can on this point, but there still isn't a definitive fight win for Goats only, as Bubble Fat does kill potentiality. These are the trades that you want on this defensive point. And the bomb gets sent through once again, not able to find anything big. Aquamarine finding 2 though, that can be the difference maker. Seb on the bomb, only able to find a turret, but the kills for Trolley Gang are evening out. And once again, they just lose in the clutch.
Yeah, the sustain is just not there for Goats only to try and be taking these super long fights. The point of the tire and the Nanoblade is to try and win these fights super fast and build up that point percentage quickly, but when you're not finding enough value out of those ultimates, it's very hard to do so and win these points consistently. But that being said, still 2 minutes on the clock here for Goats only. It is not panic time quite yet.
Yeah, the thing is, that fight is so long that a lot of the members of Goats only have already built up their ults as well, and they might not be expecting things like the tire or the Nano already. Well, they can hear that tire coming through, and if they can get a good one, then it's going to be a 1 kill onto Growl, but they even it out onto Joe. The res is going to be coming through as Ramen is left, not able to cancel that potentiality on that Genshin, not able to get too much value, but the Nano onto Aquamarine is all the really damage they need.
Yeah, it's really up to Darman on the point to try and stall this out, try not to give up as too much point presence. Growlu is going to have the Nanoblade online, which will be able to stabilize this fight out.
They stabilize once again. It's like Goats Pugs wins the fight, Trolley Gang staggers themselves out, and then they win the fight.
Yeah, again, it is really just coming down to not being able to get the picks quickly. And a lot of that comes down to Trolley Gang being able to spread themselves out so well, making it so that these big ultimates can only get 1 or 2 picks at a time.
Yeah, I think Guts only needs to be a little bit more aggressive and not let these people just sit in the back of the line while they sit on point. 61% all that is on the board for Goats only. Trolley Gang to put it with tremendous defense after a pretty flat A. The dive comes through, not able to get anything as Potentiality almost has that Nano Blade online. Joe just about 25% off, but is building quickly. But this is the big ulti. This is a do or die moment for Goats only.
Yeah, and even if you get this cap, it is very likely that it will be in overtime. So that's it. Granted, if they get the cap at all, though Nanoblade is going to come out, but just no fruit being born. You will find Bubba Fett, but two are traded back out onto Goats only. So again, you see the response from Trolley Gang towards these ultimates that Goats only are throwing out is just so big, and you're able to find so many more picks so much more consistently.
Oh, Aquaman killing the Genji is so huge, and this tire coming through is just as much value as they need. Like, Goats only could be clutching it in the final moments. The ball and the Diva and the Ana. Only people left in the point. Potentiality comes back and Tracer. The Nano is put onto the Diva for sustain, and it's doing so much damage. Redax has the bomb to clear the point, and is going to be able to reback as well. And this fight is going longer and longer. All members of Trolly Gang are already back online. They need picks. 1-2 is that pick. They find is 5v6. It could be anyone's game right now. 12 turret in the back, not able to do anything. Radix finding Sebs out of the back. 1-2's turret not gaining any value there. While Aquaman continues to find all the value throughout the fight, almost broke it to another tire in this singular fight. Easy killing Potentiality, not as much value as they needed. They need more picks to win this. Roger kills Radix, but they just can't kill the ball on point. Darman is sitting here, they're able to do everything they need as the tire finally takes them out. And there's no more tanks online for the side of Trolley Gang to solve this point out. And they're all going to be able to cap in overtime.
Yeah, they do finally get it done in the end, but very... I think it's almost a disappointing push there from Ghosts Only. I think he definitely could have capped with much more time on the clock there. But I think the Trolley Gang might have just lost their focus a little bit in that last fight. Maybe got a little bit too clumped up. And once Aquamarine sees that big cluster of people on the point, it's just easy pickings from there.
Yeah, I mean, it was so unfortunate. They had 3, maybe even 4 fights where Goats only had second point in the grasp, and they let up for half a second, and that's all that they needed to take it back. That's really what they need to stop doing. They need to put on the chokehold and grab these points by the neck. And what they really need to do looking forward is just focus fire on these staggering targets.
Incoming in 30 seconds.
Yeah, definitely. The compositions here are looking a little bit more of that poke heavy style that Ghosts Only has been consistently running this entire series. And on the defense, I could see Aquamarine's Junkrat doing a lot more work. But actually, looking over here at Trolley Gang, is this a traditional comp we're seeing over here? A Ball Diva Pharmacy? Maybe a little bit more traditional than I would have expected, but perhaps this could be a direct counter to Aquamarine on the Junkrat.
Yeah, that's definitely what they're looking for. Maybe Potentiality even predicted it with this Lex pick. But this is it. If this far can find the value that they're looking for, then they could go even in 2-2 in the series. Darwin trying to go for the rollout, but we've all seen it before. We all know what they're talking about. Potentiality does trade out, though. And now that answer for Pharmacy is gone.
Yeah, the defense is still going to find a few picks here. Aquamarine getting Radix out of the sky, so no more damage reduction for the large amount of burst damage that Ghosts Only will be pumping out. And really, it's going to be a lot of poking here from Trolley Gang until they can get the ultimates online. So it'll probably be a little bit here before they can get a fight together.
Yeah, the big plan is to just find these picks like Streamlord on the front, not enough healing to keep them alive, or they can just find some good clutch boots in. We do have Growl going behind in a very dangerous position. The Diva's tracking them down, and they fall to their own rocket damage. Boba Fett just kind of in the backline now. Roger does trade with them, though. This follow kill is big. They don't have that huge source of damage, and mostly falls for Potentiality to spam, but Aquamarine falls to Dawnman on the flank. It's all going to come down to this, the Nano and the window. Who can get more value? Radix just pushes forward. They don't get any value out of that window. until Red X backs up to the other side of it. That's so unfortunate. The Nano falls, and so does Red X mech, as it's going to be looking towards the goats only, holding this point A for now.
Just giving up either. Growler is going to have the Rocket Barrage online, as well as one to having a Bob. So a lot of point pressure can be established, and once the members of Ghost Only start backing up, that could be your look for the barrage. And really, the only counters that they're going to have to this is going to be Aquamarine's Tire and maybe Seb's self-destruct if he can find Growler out of the sky, but it's going to be a tall order here.
Oh yeah, I can see what Growl's positioning they're looking for, and they do hit it out of the mech before it even happens. Potentiality in Aquamarine. The one dies, one gets a kills, but 1-2's Bob is the real difference maker, finding 2 kills in the fight, just sitting on the point. No one can really sit there and contest with them, and it's going to be Trolly Gang finding point A cap, and they're going to be going into B with 4 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of a stall from Goats Only, but it's probably not going to amount to anything. This, the second point is where I could maybe see the Pharmacy falling off a little bit. There's not as much space for you to move around, and Potentiality will probably be able to get a lot more of that consistent poke damage, and since it is so close quarters, Sebs as well will be able to mark that out a little bit more. So we'll have to see if maybe Trolly Gang will have to swap up the compositions a little bit heading into second point.
Yeah, well, 4 minutes on the clock. All they need to do is cap with 1 minute and 1 second, and it is not possible to lose the series on this map. And now going forward, there's a lot of ultimates for both sides. It's going to be a big ult fight, and whoever pulls out in the forward will be looking good going into the rest of this map.
Yeah, and some good ultimates online here for both teams, and we're going to see them use here with the barrage. It's going to take down Sweet Lord. A lot of ultimates, not a lot of value though. Like in terms of picks here, you're really only corralling the members of Goats Only here for a second, and Aquamarine is going to have this tire online for this free contest.
Oh, we need to see a touch. We need to see a
point,
touch. We need to see a touch. No way. Goats Only this time is the one to just C9, and that's all of their hope in winning this map out the window. They can either draw or lose, and 3:18 on the clock is no slice in the tiebreak. That is 6th C9 today and 3rd one in this series.
Yeah, that's
Jeez.
probably the most egregious C9 we've seen in this series so far.
Yeah, that was so bad. They had 5 players up.
Yeah, they had 5 players up, and Aquamarine was coming back with the Rip Tire. There was such a turnable fight, and they just don't have anyone to touch the point.
It's crazy. I mean, really, it comes down to the fire pressure. Grout on the far has been so aggressive and so damage dealing that they've really gone uncontested for the most part, and putting out so much pressure just forced them inside. They're not able to go out, or else they're just gonna die anyway. Just throw their bodies in the cart at least, though.
Yeah, definitely. And it doesn't really look like we're going to be seeing too much different here from Goats Only, other than the fact that Aquamarine will be off the Junkrat onto the Torbjorn, something that we've only seen briefly in the series on Lijiang Night Market, which was the only point of Lijiang that Goats Only actually lost. So we'll have to see. Maybe the Torbjorn could be a direct counter to this Pharmacy that Growler's been dominant on so far.
Yeah, that's really what we were looking for, though. Shutting down this far is really the only answer. And we do have Dryman going for the boobs again. We've all seen it. With Potentiality finds a kill onto Red X, and that's all they needed to go forward.
Yeah, I think this is...
Oh my, Red X getting double booped. Falling down, boosting back up, and then falling down again. Not able to get punished, though.
Yes, Darman's just been spinning around in circles trying to look for... Oh, we have a pause.
We have a pause coming out from Street Lord. I don't know where they are on the map, but either way, it looks like a high ping issue. It's either way, I think this is a pretty good hold so far for the side of Goats Only. They are building up to this visor and window very quickly, but the main thing the nano barrage, this nano
Pharah, they need to be shut down. It's all on Sebs to get those Matrix before they can turn them off.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of this fight is going to come down to is just a lot of it's just going to be a lot of poking, and you're not really going to be seeing many actual engages come out from Trolley Gang until I think they have something like their Barrage Bob combo online, which we saw was kind of what got them that first point cap in the first place on their first attacking round. So I think we're going to be seeing a lot of this kind of slower push come through from Trolley Gang.
Yeah, well, the thing is, we just only need to. They only need to get one tick on the board. It's Goats only is playing for a draw here, and that's hard for that mental to get back in. Regardless, though, one tick on the board is all they need. They just need a decisive fight win here, and it's all over.
Yeah, exactly. But the decisive fight win can sometimes be really difficult. It can kind of get into your head that, you really only need the one fight, the one tick to win. And sometimes it can kind of boom you a little bit if you start losing one or two fights in a row. I think Trolley Gang though they have the composition to win a fight quickly and send us to a fifth map here.
Fifth map would be crazy. Or, we could. There's always a chance that this is a draw. The next map is a win for the side of Trolley Gang, and we go to a 6-map series. I mean, it happened in intermediate twice in the same week, week 1. So anything could
Eh,
happen.
Yeah,
And it
I might have
almost
been
happened week 2. I was casting that match. It was
I mi
one fight away from going to 6 maps.
I might have been part of one of those map sixes. It was not
Yeah,
fun. So
it's hard work, but you know what? It pays off. And we do have the timer going down for the side of Goats only. They only have so much to go.
yeah, definitely. A draw is your best case scenario. And really, like if you do end up getting the draw, that I think that is quite a big win here for Goats Only, setting us back onto control, where you might see a lot more of these traditional compositions come out for for Goats Only. You might be able to force Trolley Gang more into your wheelhouse onto some more of these traditional comps on these more traditional maps that you play more in scrims. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see how control plays out. We're definitely going to one more control map. It'll be either what Busan or Oasis. So what
Yeah,
I don't know what Goats Only would even pick in that scenario. So does look like we are going to get back into the map here.
yeah, go straight back into the action, and now hopefully the hand's gonna go cold. Jiggler back in, hopefully lower ping than they were. Dominant going to the boost, not able to get anything. And Aquamarine's turret finds Growl. It gets immediately rezzed up, but bunning that res so early is unfortunate, as the ultimates are now online. If they can catch them with a visor window, then that's all over.
Yeah, the Nano Barrage is a potential game or map winner here in this fight, and Karalu is going to find the first 2 picks in this fight onto Potentiality and Joe Rogan, so
Yeah,
this
Growl,
definitely looks like one they could win.
Nano and Growl is huge, but Aquamarine finds 2, and Streamlord shuts down the barrage immediately. What a clutch from Goats Only to bring it back. It looked like it was all over. But the Nano from onto Growl was so powerful, but that was 3 major ultimates burned from the side of Trolley Only. I'm sorry, Trolley Only. Trolley Gang. And now that those are gone, it's looking a lot more dire. This Bongo from Streamlord can be very powerful.
Yeah, and there's going to be a little bit more point pressure put on by the Bob here from 1-2. The Mine's going to be cutting off any rotations or anyone trying to push forward. So now everyone's going to be corralled back onto points. So now really all it comes down to is being able to corral them into a small area, and Garalu being able to get that poke out.
Yeah, but getting Red X out of the back early in this fight is big, very big. That defense matrix not able to come up, and Potentiality does follow the doorman, but Seb's had a huge bomb, 2 players in bomb, 7th man down, and that's all they really needed to win this fight. Potentiality gets res once again, and now it's 50 seconds left on the board. They're gonna probably be able to build up to a Nano Barrage one more time, but that's all they have.
Yeah, and the barrage should be built up by the time this engage comes through. But now you'll only have 30 seconds and a lot of ultimates here online for Goats Only. This is definitely looking a little bit dire for Trolley Gang, really only having your barrage and support ults online. So you're definitely going to be looking to build some more of those up in this fight. Play this a little bit slower. Only touch when you absolutely have to.
We have a Visor, and killing Bubble Fat early is so big. 1-2 killing potentiality right back though is big. They're probably looking for another res as the barrage comes through. Nano barrage, in fact, and that's all they really need is Growl finding all the kills that they could find. Aquaman killing Growl though. It's a very even fight as the res comes out onto street. Aquaman dies with the ult, but Leafy Deepy dead. That's only Mercy heals on point. But if the res does come onto Growl, that fallen Mercy is going to be so hard to shut down in this overtime scenario. Street will kill Radix on the remix. Instead, kills Darman, but Growl finding the kills that they need. That bomb on point is just too powerful. They don't have anything to shut it down. It's just potentiality on the Tracer. But the Baptiste does come back in the window on high gun. It finds Boba Fett as Joe Rogan is clutching on the high gun. It's just potentiality. Leafy Deefy is the only person left on point for the side of Trolley Gang. It is 1v2, and they're not going to be able to do it. But Darman not able to touch in time. And it's a draw. What a clutch from Goats Only to be able to come back and pull it. Pulling the rope inch by inch towards that draw mark, and they finally able to climb out of that hole and get the dub. What a fight!
I think a little bit of spaghetti was potentially dropped off the table.
Spaghetti is all over the floor.
From Trolley Gang. Yeah, that's definitely one you needed to have, especially in such a scenario where it's such a dire scenario where you kind of needed that map win, and now you're going into control. You need to win 2 control maps in a row to win this series. And now Goats Only, they're staring down the staring down a 3-1 victory, which
Yeah,
maybe 10 minutes ago it didn't sound very plausible.
Your Goats Only definitely pulling it back from after a subpar Route 76. Definitely put more of a performance up on Temple Anubis, and now they're going back to control. And arguably, I think the style of play really favors control in these scenarios. I mean, we saw how dominant they were on those 2 maps of Lijiang, and excuse me.
Yeah, their Lijiang was definitely, I think, the best map in the series. Well, maybe other than King's Row, but Lijiang was still very strong for them. So either Oasis or Busan. Seeing what we saw from
I think Busan is a little bit more likely.
Yeah.
For how Ghost likes to play. They like that brawl. They like that double shields. We'll just have to see though. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Oasis is definitely a weird map. I don't know if it would actually lend itself. If you want to keep playing the Junkrat, I think Oasis might be the better pick for Goats Only, but either way, I think no matter which map it goes, it's really up to Trolley Gang to provide a response after that map just slips out of their fingers.
Yeah, it just kind of fell right through. Spaghetti all over the floor. They were not able to clutch up when it came down to it. And that's really going to be the difference maker in this series, because if excuse me, if Trolley Gang is able to find this next control map, but then lose them the last one in a 6-map series, they will be punching themselves for the rest of the season for losing that fight on Anubis.
Yeah, definitely. It is certainly one that you absolutely needed to have. And do we have the map pick in? Yeah, yes, it does. So it looks like we are going to be going over to Busan.
And interesting enough, we have Rectophobia coming in instead of Aquamarine. I would have expected Aquamarine for like your mecha bases.
Yeah, what I've seen from Rectophobia in the past, he's a very, very mechanically gifted player who can dominate on almost anything he plays. So I think it's probably a pretty decent swap, especially since a lot of these maps are a lot more open and don't lend themselves as well to the Junkrat. So
Yeah,
I think
definitely,
I think
but
the
a high
Rectophobia
pressure
swap.
scenario.
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
It does make sense to swap out Aquamarine. They've been performing well, but Rectophobia definitely coming in for that map 5 banger, trying to pull out the clutch. Very high pressure scenario to jump in cold with, though. We're going to be going in pretty soon, and it's going to be a good final map. I mean, not final map, but potentially final map.
Potentially
If
final map. Yeah.
potentially final map.
Yeah, Ghosts Only will be playing for the win. And Trolley Gang will be playing to keep themselves alive in this series. And it does look like we are going to be heading into the map soon. Just waiting on Goats Only to get the ready up here. And we'll be heading into this map. And it's going to be interesting. Is Trolley Gang going to play a real comp? I feel like that is the question that is on all of our minds as we head into Busan.
Yeah, I mean that's gonna be the real difference maker of what maps are we gonna get first. Because this momentum-based control map is going to be whether we get something like a maker base where goats only can strive on that brawl comp, or if it's something like Sanctuary where they can play that Roadhog ball style.
Yeah, I do think the hog ball can actually be quite
Now
potent
traveling
on a
to
couple of the map Sanctuary, which is going to be the first round, is one of them where if a hog unchecked can definitely run away with this map despite it being so open. You can play around that drum and really play off those hooks. So that kind of depends if Trolley Gang even wants to play the Roadhog here.
It really depends. I think Trolley Gang, especially through Red X's strength on Roadhog and Diva, has
ready for battle.
really carried them to victory here throughout the maps and obviously led them to the draw on Anubis. But we're going to see pretty similar comps here.
Yeah, almost a direct mirror. And I think this is probably why they brought Rectophobia in, is that Goats only wants to play this Tracer. They want to play this ball style. And it actually looks like we might be seeing a complete mirror here for the first time in this series. So
Round one.
very
Capture
interesting,
the
depending on if
objective.
Vraja is going to stay on the Mercy here. And it does look like they will. So pretty much mirror compositions here, and which was definitely unexpected, at least for me.
Yeah, it's very surprising to see almost mirror matchups with two teams who are drastically different styles like this. It really is probably going to come to how who can dive well with the ball and Tracer and who can just out-aim each other between potentiality and 1-2.
The objective.
Yeah, definitely the biggest test
Oh, 1-2
of
falls.
mechanical skill and team play is the mirror comp. So
The res
Already
is
a few
definitely
comps
the
coming
difference
in.
maker. Reefy able to even it out, and the first cap does go over to the side of Trolley Gang.
yeah, it's the fight is still going on here. You see the Tracers dueling, and the core of Goats only kind of a little bit bottlenecked here on the right side near the Mega as they wait for some of these respawns to come in, waiting for Street Lord and Rectophobia to get set up. And that's going to definitely help Joe Rogan getting the kill onto 1-2.
Yeah, it's definitely going forward. It's 2 kills going onto the Ghost Party. So Growler does even it out, but trades with the life. And the rest coming out basically guarantees that Ghost only is going to take half of this point at 40%, excuse me.
Yeah, these ball comps can definitely stall point out for quite a while. Obviously, Wrecking Ball, a ton of sustain on point with the adaptive shields. But now we're going to be seeing ultimates come online for both teams. You're going to see DPS ults online, as well as support ults for the side of Goats only. And Pulse Bomb Transcendence plus tank ults for Trolley Gang. So it's one of those ult fights that is definitely going to come down to who could use these ultimates first and who can get them off with more value. And Growlhoot getting the Pulse Bomb definitely helps.
Yeah, but the 2 kills from Ghost only evening it out is huge. The Transcendence to kind of counter that Visor and the counter Transcendence as well just means that they're able to stay alive. The Visor are able to find 1 kill at the end, and Ghost only evens out the percentages and finds many kills.
Yeah, that was a 5 ultimate fight though for Goats only. Now all you have is a Gravitic Flux. That being said, Reefy Deefy had his Transcendence forced in a losing fight. So even though you only have 1 ult here for Goats only, it could be enough.
Yeah, that's all they really need. If they can just get that one thing going in, then they can really find their footing back in this as 65% comes up to votes only. And this flux needs to be big from Sebs. Without the Transcendence on the other side, this rally is all they can really do about the Transcendence of these flux. And we have the Visor Flux come out, found them into the air potentiality, getting killed, Bubble Fat, finding one of their own. And it's definitely a fight going in favor of the Trolley Gang as the cap gets flipped over at 82%.
Yeah, but now you're going to start seeing the ultimates come back online for Goats only. Joe Rogan building ever so close to that Transcendence, even though just gets picked off there by 1-2 and Growlu. Rectifier will be able to trade back out onto Growlu, so this fight kind of ongoing. That being said, though, again, these ultimates starting to come back online for Goats only, and with 82% on the point here, it's definitely going to be a tall task for Trolley Gang to equalize that and maybe even potentially win this map.
That's okay. If they can equalize and win this map, then going forward in the final map 6 is going to be very interesting because the momentum's completely gone the other way. It feels like Goats only is fighting an uphill battle here, and the Spires are not able to get too much value as the Flux comes out with forcing the Transcendence, gets sent down. No kills coming through, but Joe Rogan is the one to follow the 1-2 Steelers Fluxy, and now it's one fight scenario. 2 picks on the side of Trolley Gang. Now the pulse bomb going wide, there was the Resurrection is traded out for Streetwood, and now the Transcendence coming out, Potentiality trying their best to even out with the Tracer getting harassed in the backline, and now it's Joe Rogan trying to stay alive as much as they can on the point, and it's the pulse bomb able to put Potentiality while they trade it out, and it's going to be Trolley Gang probably taking, we do have a Mines, and the Visor coming out, but Streetwood kills 1-2 on the Visor, but Raja not able to find the res or any continued healing. The rally can sustain all members of Trolley Gang as they find the first round of Tucson on Sanctuary.
I think a lot of that comes down to Trolley Gang just finding a little bit more value out of their ultimates than Goats only was able to find, especially with the Gravitic Flux. Red X was able to find so much more value with that ultimate than Sebs was, and for a round that went 100 to 99, essentially, Red X only building one of those Gravitic Fluxes during that round was definitely a little bit rough, and wasn't really able to find any value out of it, so definitely going to be looking for both of these teams to clean up a little bit more of that ult usage, Goats only especially.
5, 4,
Yeah, I want to see better ult usage from both teams, honestly. And we do have the rush coming out for Goats only while they're still playing this Ball Sigma comp for the side of Trolley Gang. We're really going to see the clash of styles. Who is better? We have a long rotation, and it's going to be hard for this rush to really run down the members of Trolley Gang with this really long poke setup.
Yeah, Darman was doing a little bit of the spinning for a second there. And Growlu is looking for a little bit of that poke there, just on the high ground. Otherwise, Trolley Gang looking to just keep their distance, not looking to get ran on too hard by the Brawl comp. Rectophobia does find the pick onto Growlu early, though, and that's going to be definitely a little bit of a tall task to get anything done against this Brawl comp without your Tracer.
Yeah, now this Brawl comp can kind of just sit on point, and as soon as this ball steps off for a second, they do get the cap, and now they can just kind of play this slow. If they play from just underneath the Mega, there's nothing that this team from Trolley Gang can do. Roger does go up for the quick boost, but not able to get anyone down. Red X getting knocked down, though, with a good play from Steb. Does trade the mech, though, as Red X finding kills, though. I wouldn't have expected them to be booped down. They do eventually trade their life, and this poke comp not finding too much value from the side of Trolley Gang.
Yeah, you're kind of just shooting into a shield on the back of point. Eventually, some pressure needs to be applied from your Ball Tracer onto the core for your Zen to be able to do anything. Otherwise, you're kind of just shooting into a shield for 5 years. That being said, ultimates are starting to come online here for Goats only. And now some of these resources are going to start being forced.
Now Pokemon attacking the shield as the Blizzard issues to kind of just zone them out. But it's already 48% on the board for Goats only. And the VAP goes a little bit too far, and Streetwood not able to keep up, and it's going to be Trolley Gang kind of evening this out without the van heals for the side of Goats only. There's not much they can really do. The B keeps them alive as long as possible as the timer does come out. But no one to really pressure them, but once you find Raja on that Lucio, and now the Zenyatta 1v1ing the Cassidy, and they do pull out ahead, but they're just stalling the point as long as they can, and that's 70% on the board without even losing a fight.
Yeah, definitely. The Transcendence there from Rifidifi just putting the nail in the coffin on that fight. 70% though for Goats only, definitely have a little bit of room to work with. And Ultimate's online as well. You have the Shatter and an Ant Matrix online here for Goats only. And it does look like they're going to try and play fast. Actually, a beautiful stun there from Rectophobia to get Redix out of his Gravitic Flux. But the mines from Darman.
Darman's mines was so big. That's all they needed to win that fight. And now we kind of have a late stagger? Nope, they're able to get into spawn just in time.
Yeah, and that's huge because if Seb's got DMX there, it's quite likely you have to try and swap. And you lose that self-destruct, which could be huge in this fight. So, a lot of ultimates still here for both sides, so another big ultimate fight upcoming here. But Redis just gets ran down.
Oh, what a beat! For Hugie for that pulse bomb and the kill onto Redix, Streetlord just kind of rolling through. It's going to be a quick flip in spite of Goats only. And now, this is basically, they have one more, they have 2 fights, and they really have a desperation fight at the end though. As this percentage builds up, it's more and more likely that there's this actually final fight, and the ultimate advantage for the side of Goats only is huge.
Yeah. That being said, though, Trolley Gang does have both supportals, Transcendence and Rally. And Growlo is capturing points. That has to go down to try and contest. So already this Brawl comp is splitting quite hard. But Bubba Fett dies as soon as they use the Rally.
Bubba Fett getting high noon and dies immediately too, but the double kill from Redix actually turns it the other way. What a clutch from the Sigma on the side of Trolley Gang to win this fight for them in this dire scenario.
Yeah, Redix putting the team on his back a little bit there with another Gravitic Flux. It's been absolutely massive so far on this point. Redix and Darman, especially, I feel, have really been putting in the work on Mecha Base so far, and now it really is up to Goats only to provide a response.
That's really the response they need. Instant kill onto Darman is big. This pulse bomb never will get as much value as they want, and just be able to keep them alive. And 3 picks already is spelling major disruption for the side of Trolley Gang. Only 2 members left alive to even possibly touch. And it does look like the touch is about to come out, but not for long. Relics has secured his right for it, and the Blues to just squeezing up Darman. Head 1-2 coming back on the Doofus. Maybe DP does the best to even it out, but it's not going to matter. Goats only are going to take round 2, and we're going to a round 3 Busan.
I feel like Rectophobia was really demonstrating there the reason that he came in for this map over Aquamarine, who was playing so well in this series already. You just kind of needed that hit scan prowess, especially on the Cassidy. You get the stun on Redix out of his ultimate, and so many crucial picks, especially onto Growlu and Darman, that were just able to equalize a lot of these fights, or in some cases put those fights into Ghost Only's favor. And now, if you're Trolley Gang, it is do or die time once again for you.
I mean, it's crazy that this has gone the distance this much. After the first 2 maps, it really looked like Goats Only was just going to 3-0, quick and easy, bang, and we're done. And this really just turned into a banger of a match.
Round 3.
Yeah, we're going to see Grello actually move back over to the Genji. Maybe try and play for that Nanoblade win condition. Darman taking a lot of poke damage from Street Lord and Recto. But that might be one of the downsides to playing the Genji, is a lot more, it's not so much poke damage as you have dive potential, but it looks like it's going to just be a pretty standard neutral here on City Center. Or downtown, rather.
And it's a nice ante from the side of Leafy Deefy to kill Seb. All the members are very low of Trolley Gang as well, so it could be ending this game. As the Red Sox come out, potentially kills Leafy Deefy. The cap goes to Trolley, but they're losing the fight. Goats only are finding up with the picks as they need them, and they're going to be able to rush forward on point. Not much percentage able to be gained for Trolley Gang.
Yeah, it was a really nice sustain after Leafy Deefy hit the anti-nade and was able to get the initial first pick. It was a good kind of soft reset and re-engage, as really all you need to do is wait for your DPS of Potentiality and Recto to find a pick, and you're able to get right back into this round and right back into this fight. That 17% probably won't amount to much, as it's really already being equalized.
Yeah, it's definitely a good equalization after Seb does fall. They're able to find those picks that on it and Zoltan is finding so much value, and now this is a huge ult fight going forward. Leafy DP kills Victophobia as the Pulse Bomb not able to get anything big, and then that's a huge kill for the side of Trolly Gang. The Nano Visor coming out.
Yeah, and it's gonna be interesting to see if it actually gets anything. Finds one too, so that is actually a pretty valuable pair of ultimates that are used in that fight. That being said, Trolly Gang in this next fight will have that Nano Blade online, and really that visor was probably the best counter that you had to. So even though you win this fight and you're halfway to winning this point, you need to live through this Nano Blade and a lot of more ultimates, almost 6 ultimates online here for Trolly Gang.
Yeah, I gotta point out the 1, 2, 3, 4 kills for potentially in that last fight. Only one of them with the Nano Visor as well. The slam coming through as the Nano Blade gets sent out, and the potentiality, and the bomb directly on top of him, bro! Not able to survive or dash away as the point does get flipped. Joe trading the life, but then possibly it's a resin board. There is for on, and now it's a 65. And the Nano Blade finding no value, Victophobia evening it out. I mean, dying to even it out as much as possible. Street Lord no longer answered on point. And they're looking for what values they can get. Shooters falling on the side. Where did the players? It feels like they Goats only kind of just gave up the point before the fight was over.
Yeah, and it's actually going to be a full 6 ultimates being used here from Trolly Gang in this fight. And really only 50% gain from this fight. Potentiality though is purpled, and that it's going to be Growler finishing that one off. So a little bit of spaghetti on the floor once again here for both of these teams, but. It does look like Ghost Only might be stabilizing this a bit.
That's crazy that they were able to just even it out in a fight that they were ahead of. And honestly, potentially reality though, finding Bubble Pad really quick, finding Dogman 2 and 1-2. Potentiality is just absolutely popping off Call MN3 because his performance has just been upstaged. As we have a huge clutch of potentiality getting the immediate res. Of course, when someone's popping up like that, you need to res them.
Yeah, no ultimates for Trolly Gang going into Nano and Self-Destruct. This is going to be very, very difficult for Trolly Gang. Street Lord, this gets left in purple on the high ground. It doesn't look like it's going to amount to much, as he's going to be able to get out with the adaptive shields. And now it's do or die time. You will have the blade online. Growler's been doing a great job of building that up.
Yeah, but a Nano comes down to potentiality and another visor online. 2 kills already coming out for the side of Trolly Gang, but this Nano visor looking to even it out as much as they can. They find Red X, but that's all they're going to get for right now. But Sebs does even it out. It's 4v4 on the point, and the pulse does stick onto Leafy DP. Goats Only is clutching the fight. This blade needs to be huge. It's do or die. Finding Joe on the back with Electrophobia is able to even it out. Mercy running away from the blade, and not anything they can do about it. It's going to be Goats Only taking the series 3-1. Ignore that, everyone. It's just another naming mix-up. It is Goats Only winning the series, not Trolly Gang.
Well, I prefer Trolly Only personally.
Trolly Only did win the series.
Yeah. Overall, though, very, very good showing here from Goats Only. Definitely showing a little bit of a response to adversity after you go up 2-1 and the next 2 maps don't really go in your favor. You find the draw late on Anubis, and then on Busan, you're able to seal it up.
Yeah, it was a very back and forth match with Goats Only being very dominant in the first 2 and then kind of being outclassed in the next 2. But we really had a nice final map. I think it was going back and forth between the teams, and it really came down to, I think, potentiality's final clutch and with multiple 4Ks on that final map of Busan that really pushed them over the edge.
Yeah, we definitely saw a lot of clutch moments from Goats Only just as a team. Vraja, especially in that first map, had some clutch moments on the Lucio. Joe Rogan, even in the fights that they were losing, say on maps like Route 66, was finding so much value on the Zen. And of course, I need to give a ton of credit over to Street Lord. It was able to stay alive for so long in some of these fights with some key ultimates. The 3K Primal Rage on Lijiang Tower being one of the standout moments of the series for me.
Yeah, I think every player in the series had their own moment at any given point in time, but it was Goats only to come away with the win 3-1 with another draw. We've had a lot between the two divisions, there has been a lot of drawn maps. Very interesting. I think the play just between these two divisions has been so close. I love to see it.
Yeah, looking over at some of the other series in advance, so we had Kingdom taking the 3-0 over Genetic, and Red Veil taking a 3-1 over Easy Clap. So a very interesting week 2 for advanced. And the cherry on top will be Goats Only taking the 3-1-1 victory over Trolley Gang.
Yeah, I mean, it was an excellent series, excellent players. I think my personal player of the match is going to be Potentiality just because of that map winning heroics and consistent performance throughout the series. But I think any player from GOATS only could really be picked here.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Everyone on Goats Only played great. So, do you have any closing thoughts, or do you think we're about ready to close this
No,
one out?
I think that was an excellent series, excellent players across the board. If you're Trolley Gang, you were able to keep in it, and you definitely could be looking better going forward. I mean, they put way more fight into this match than they did against Easy Clap. So going forward, just improve your game, work on your team coordination a little bit, and you can definitely take it to these upper level teams. But I'm Bob, and this is my partner Rocket. Make sure to tune in next week for the next week 3 of both intermediate and advanced games. This is Bob signing out.